Taizawa, thank you for joining us. Here are the weekly highlights of Arakan. Junta says it cannot hold elections in dozens of Sittwe, Kyaukphyu wards and village-tracts. Arakanese farmers struggle to harvest paddy amid ongoing attacks. Skin disease spread among hundreds of displaced families on Rathedaung's Mosel Island. AA-held areas mark global 16-day campaign against gender violence. Farmers cry foul over exploitative paddy trading practices. IDPs in Ponnagyun Township endure water shortages. Armed clashes between the Arakan army and the Myanmar military have been ongoing for over 2 years. In this weekly segment, covering December 1st to December 7th of 2025, we'll be bringing you key developments regarding the situation in Arakan. The junta says it cannot hold elections in dozens of Sittwe, Kyaukphyu wards and village-tracts. The junta-controlled Union Election Commission, UEC, announced on December 6th that elections cannot be held in 71 village-tracts and wards in Sittwe and Kyaukphyu townships, according to Myanmar Alin Daily. The UEC cited lack of conditions listing 53 village-tracts and urban wards in Kyaukphyu township and 18 village-tracts in Sittwe township. These include Rathedaung, Shao, Ponnagyun, and the Khmer village-tracts in Kyaukphyu, and Rathedaung, Chaunui, Ponnagyun village-tracts in Sittwe. The announcement also outlined areas where elections will not be held in 13 regions and states, including Arakan, Kachin, Gaya, Gayin, Chin, Shan, and Mon states, and Sagaing, Bago, Magwe, Mandalay, Ayeyarwady, and Tanindai regions. The regime plans to hold Phase 1 of its elections in 102 townships on December 28th and Phase 2 in 100 townships on January 11, 2026. Political analysts say a military regime conducting nationwide airstrikes cannot achieve political stability. As the election approaches, the regime has stepped up attacks on AA-controlled townships in an attempt to expand the area in which polls can be held. Arakanese farmers struggle to harvest paddy amid ongoing attacks. Recent junta airstrikes, artillery fire from warships, and ground bases continue to threaten civilians, causing farmers to fear for their safety as they harvest. Residents in Kyaukphyu have been planting rice since June, hoping to secure food supplies despite insecurity. In late October, junta troops advanced near Zaishao and Kulava, Godu, and Rathedaung villages, forcing residents to abandon their fields and flee. On December 3rd, junta drone attacks targeted farmers harvesting rice in Rathedaung village, killing 2 women and injuring 1. Fierce clashes continue near Ponnagyun, Rathedaung, and Taishong villages in Kyaukphyu township, with the AA reportedly retaking some areas it had withdrawn from last month. Skin diseases spread among hundreds of displaced families on Rathedaung's Mosel Island. More than 700 displaced families sheltering on Mosel Island in Rathedaung Township are suffering from skin diseases, according to internally displaced persons, IDPs, and social support groups. The conditions have persisted for some time, and cases have surged again since November. IDPs unable to afford medical treatment are relying on traditional remedies and say they urgently need healthcare assistance. Thousands of displaced people live on Mosel Island, where they face the threat of airstrikes and artillery attacks, as well as food shortages and financial hardship. Skin disease outbreaks were reported among displaced communities across Arakan State in 2024. The conflict has forced an estimated 600,000 people from their homes, leaving them struggling with shortages of food, medicine, and shelter. AA-held areas marked globally 16-day campaign against gender violence. Local civil society organizations in AA-controlled areas of Arakan State are marking the global 16 days of activism for the elimination of violence against women, observed annually from November 25th to December 10th. Women in Arakan State continue to face sexual violence and life-threatening attacks by the Myanmar military, including airstrikes, artillery shelling, and drone strikes amid the ongoing conflict. Ethnic communities including Arakanese, Muslims, and Chin are taking part in activities. IDPs say many women in displaced camps are facing increased sexual violence and other security threats. Farmers cry foul over exploitative paddy trading practices. Farmers say there's effectively no paddy market in Arakan State this harvest season, leaving them vulnerable to exploitative traders and facing heavy losses. Previously, 1 basket of paddy was sold using baskets holding 52 to 54 tins. But traders are now using baskets using 60 to 65 tins, farmers said. Producers say their efforts are headed for disaster, with no functioning market, high input costs, and trading practices entirely dictated by merchants. The United League of Arakan, ULA, is considering establishing standard measures for paddy and rice trading and tightening oversight of purchases. Many farmers are also struggling with high labor costs and harvesting 1 acre of paddy rising to 150,000 jets this season. With no paddy market for 2 consecutive seasons, farmers say they are suffering major financial losses. IDPs in Ponnagyun Township endure water shortages. People in Rathedaung displaced camp and Rathedaung agriculture IDP camp in Ponnagyun Township are facing growing hardship as drinking water sources begin to dry up. Rathedaung agriculture IDP camp hosts over 300 households and relies on 2 lakes that have begun drying since November. Displaced people say they must wait long hours for a single pot of water and depend on limited supplies from nearby villages. Ponnagyun Township faces water shortages every year, forcing IDPs to use water from shallow wells dug in fields near the camp for drinking and domestic use. As a result, IDPs frequently suffer from skin and diarrheal diseases. These are the main highlights of the past week in Arakan. This program is presented every Tuesday, so please stay tuned. May all people of Arakan and the world stay healthy and safe.